community, students, people who work in the schools, the first thing we have to say is we have to call on the people who run the city and the Board of Education to support our community schools. Stop closing them.
Save our schools, fight!
On the eve of the December 14, 2011 board meeting, hundreds of protesters gather on the sidewalk in front of the Chicago Public Schools headquarters. They speak out against the board's ongoing dismantling of public education and privatizations.
The experimentation, the merry-go-round of failed reforms that has affected the communities on the south side and the west side and all of our schools has been a failure. The people who work in these schools, who go to these schools, who live in these schools, have complained about inadequate support for more than a decade, for years and years. Instead of the resources that we need, the counselors, the teachers, the security, all the things we need, we get closings, we get actions, we get turnarounds, we get the very people who built relationships over decades being blamed for the failure, they get fired, and communities get destabilized, and our schools are not helped, our schools are hurt. And we're here to say, we want you to save our schools, stop experimenting on them.
Who are the people that will save our schools?
We are the people that will save our schools!
Who are the people that will save our schools?
We are the people that will save our schools!
We are
the 99%!
We are
the 99%!
Hi, my name is Louise Bell. I've been working for food service in Chicago Public School for 15 years. The teachers, the parents, the students, the security guard, the janitor, the engineer, and all the food service workers. We need to stand up and fight together.
That's right.
Well, my name is Mary Graspodek. I work at the Hyatt Regency Chicago for 16 years. Many of the members of my union work in the school cafeteria. They work for a school board. And let me tell you, we have been fighting at the Hyatt where I work for a fair contract for over 2 years. A few months ago, my coworkers and I, we even walked out on a 1-week-long strike to send the Hyatt a message that we deserve the same standard as the union workers across the city. The owners of the Hyatt Corporation are billionaires. Remember billionaires, the 1%? The Pritzker family in Chicago, one of the Pritzker family members in Chicago, Penny Pritzker, she is on Chicago School Board. This worries me and my coworkers because the decision the Pritzkers have made, along with the Hyatt Corporation, have been bad for my family and hundreds of other families in Chicago.
Somewhere I read that we have a right for our kids to have a decent and affordable education. And we're not going to stop until they stop tearing down the schools. As they tear down schools in this city, they're constantly building jails. I say to you, if you don't invest in our children today, you're going to invest in them tomorrow. I am a product of the Chicago Public Schools. My wife was a teacher, and these kids deserve to be able to go to the school in their neighborhoods and to be educated and to receive education just as all of us have. As I represent the transit workers here in this great city, just a few months ago, there were service cuts. Just a few months ago, they were raising fares. Now they're closing schools. We serve the communities which we live in. We don't live outside the community, we live within. Our children go to schools in these communities. And as young people, they ride the buses. And so when they cut service, we put our kids in danger. So we stand here in solidarity with the Chicago Teachers Union and all of our kids throughout this city, from the north side, the west side, and the east side.
Okay, we have children here from Marquette.
I'm a teacher at Marquette, but we brought our children. They want it to come. This is their future that is being sold right out from under them. These kids grew up in this neighborhood. It's not the best of neighborhoods, but it is our neighborhood. And these kids want to go to their school. They want to remember their school that their sisters, their older sisters and brothers went to and graduated from. These are our children. These are our schools. Save our schools. Don't give them away. We are at a crossroads. We're either going to make a decision that we're going to do the right thing, or we're not. And I think we have an opportunity right now to make sure our voices are clearly heard, not by just people in Chicago, but nationwide. This is a huge fight for the soul of public education. We cannot continue to go down a path that doesn't work. We need to stop experimenting on our children. And we need to tell the truth about things that don't work, but take public funds and give them to private organizations. We need to have honest conversations about politically connected people who get to run our schools. And we need to make a commitment to publicly funded public education. Resource our schools appropriately. Support our communities. Don't hit our children 2 and 3 times. Don't close down libraries and clinics and all these other things and expect schools to do a job by themselves. So we have an option. We can either make this commitment right now, or we can go down this political path that doesn't work. The studies are in. You cannot push out our children and only educate the ones you don't, and lie and say you're giving parents choice. You're not giving them choice. You're giving them false choices. Let's start telling the truth, and let's make sure we all tell it. It can't just be one person speaking the truth. It's all of us need to say it over and over and over again. Thank you. If you are staying the night, you need to get your sleeping bags right behind me over this way. If you're staying out here tonight, go ahead and grab your sleeping bag right now. Get yourself all cuddled and ready to sleep. Board meeting, there's one tomorrow. At 9 o'clock, CPS will be having their monthly board meeting. I ask you to come out to the board meeting. If you want to be a speaker, you should be here at 6 o'clock at least in the morning to sign in. If you don't do nothing but go home or bust away and have breakfast and be back at 9 o'clock.
Occupy the board! Occupy the board! Occupy the board!
About 20 bed down in sleeping bags overnight to make sure they get in place in line the next morning to testify at the Board of Education meeting. After midnight, a steady cold rain falls. The next morning, before the Board of Education meeting starts, the Chicago Teachers Union holds a press conference in the building's lobby.
My name is Jackson Potter. I am the staff coordinator for the Chicago Teachers Union. Apologize if I'm a little hoarse. Many of us standing before you today spent the evening to ensure parent, teacher, student voice, and community voice will be represented today at the board. We've had to go through tremendous lengths to ensure that they hear us loud and clear, and that's what we've done. So I want to let you hear these voices directly from the schools themselves. Oftentimes they are shut out and not heard. And it's absolutely essential we know the details of what's going on in their lives, in their school communities. Those details matter. They matter the most, beyond anything. I want to invite Jason Cooper from Crane, a teacher who's going to tell you a little bit about what's going on there.
Hey, Jason.
Hi, my name is Jason Cooper. I'm a teacher at Crane High School. I am here on behalf of the staff members and students at Crane High School to speak on what is going on at our school. Crane is a neighborhood school, and Crane is currently in a proposed phase-out. A proposed phase-out that would take 3 years with a co-occupation of our charter school. That co-occupation not only introduces a possible danger by intermixing students from different neighborhoods, but also provides the students that will currently stay there throughout the end of the phase-out with an education that will be dwindling, with dwindling staff members, dwindling resources, and dwindling support for those students. We must, CPS must invest in our schools and not close them, as these investments, as our children are our greatest investments. The children must be supported in any way possible, and we must stand up and tell CPS that they must support our students and not give up on them. Thank you.
Next, we have Diana Molina, who's from Northwest Middle School. The parents have spoken loud and clear. They don't want a charter in their building. CPS continues to ignore their voices. She's here to tell you about it.
Creo que desde el año pasado nosotros hemos insistido en que nuestra comunidad en Belmont Cregan, nosotros,
For more than a year, our community in Belmont Cregan,
nosotros hemos pedido que se respete la opinión de la comunidad.
our community has asked that the will of the community be respected.
En nuestra comunidad tenemos suficientes escuelas,
In our community, we have enough schools,
pero no tenemos suficientes fondos.
but we don't have enough funds for our schools.
Experimentamos pérdidas de maestros,
We have had losses of teachers,
pero se espera que nuestros niños tengan mejores oportunidades.
and they expect that the children will actually have better results, even at the same time that we're having cuts of teachers' positions.
Esto no tiene sentido.
This doesn't make any sense.
Hemos escuchado acerca de mejoras en las escuelas charter, lo cual ha arrojado los resultados que no es así.
We've been told that the charters are doing better, but in fact that's not the case.
Queremos entonces que los fondos regresen a las escuelas que los necesitan y se deje de cerrar escuelas para abrir más centros de experimentación.
We want those funds that are being on charters to be returned to the neighborhood schools, and we want them to stop experimenting on our children.
Last but certainly not least, Jitu Brown, who's a member of the Dyett LSC and a community activist, is going to tell you what's really going on.
Okay. So when we ask ourselves, when we hear our schools labeled as low performing, the public has to begin to ask the question, why? Why do our schools struggle? What we have learned, and we ask you as members of the press to have the courage to investigate, that you can look all over the city of Chicago and see how performing schools have been destabilized by Chicago public schools. In the Bronzeville community, Fuller School was a rising star school within Chicago public schools. Arnie Duncan himself used to bring people to Fuller to say, this is how you develop an urban elementary school. And then when Raymond closed in 2006, when Donahue closed in 2005, those students were pushed into Fuller School with no resources. And now Fuller is one of the lowest performing schools in the area. In the case of Woodson, Woodson was the #1 school in the region up to 3 years ago, until the University of Chicago Charter School cohabitated the campus, and they took the resources from Woodson, and now Woodson is one of the lowest performing schools in the area. When will we ask the question why and stop accepting the stereotype about black and brown children? We love our children as much as anybody else. As much as anybody else. And now, Have the courage to pressure them like you pressure us. Have the courage to ask them, why is only 1 out of 5 of your schools performing, even though there's selective enrollment? Even though you got the audacity to pick and choose, why is only 1 out of 5 of your schools performing? Because you don't know what you're doing. Community wisdom plus academic expertise equals school improvement. You cannot claim to love these children if you hate their parents, if you despise the neighborhoods they come from. So, as a local school council member at Dyett, who has watched Dyett be sabotaged, even though in 2008, on 51st and King Drive, Dyett had the biggest increase of students going to college in District 299, and the area officer punished Dyett instead of supporting Dyett, who has witnessed the disinvestment in Dyett when King became a college prep and received a $25 million donation, and Dyett didn't even have honors classes. No, the gig is up. The shell game is over. So we're going to tell you on behalf of the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, we don't care what your vote is upstairs. You are not getting Dyett. You are not getting Fuller. You are not getting Price. And the spirit that we are feeling around this city is that you are not getting none of those schools. On top of that, parents have submitted proposals to improve their schools, and to show your arrogance, you've ignored those parents' proposals. You've ignored them. Parents in Bronzeville worked for 18 months, secured partnerships with academic experts on how to transform Dyett and 5 of its feeder schools, and you have ignored the parents' participation. So what the parents have empowered me to tell you is that unless you're ready to drag each and every parent up out of their schools, you're not getting it.
A long line of people from the community forms to go upstairs to the board meeting.
My name is Bernadette Harris, and I'm a proud parent from Herzl Elementary. And some of the concerns and problems that I see at Herzl is lack of funding. The children, my daughter is in 3rd grade, and she has been in Herzl Elementary since pre-K, and she have never once brought home a math book, reading book, spelling book, no type of books. The teachers have to Xerox copies of papers to bring for, printing out papers from the websites and stuff to educate the children, and I think it's unfair. They should all have books, a computer lab. They should have a second language. They don't have that. And another concern of mine that no one never spoke of that I haven't heard is the school lunches. My kids get their breakfast in a brown paper bag off a table every morning, and I feel that that is so degrading. And the only thing that be in that breakfast is string cheese, crackers, and the milk. That is not a good nutritional breakfast, and I think that is unfair. How do you think the kids can function on an empty stomach? They can't. So I feel that CPS needs to do a better job and step up and support our children and give us what we need to continue to support our children throughout life.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention, please. Welcome to the December 14, 2011 board meeting. I'd like to remind you of the public participation guidelines.
Board President David Vitale introduces Chief Executive Officer Jean-Claude Brazard.
We're going to commence with Jean-Claude, who will introduce Mr. Cawley and Mr.
The people are fed up with years of the board making done deals behind closed doors while pretending to listen to the community.
Morning, Mr. President, members of the Board of Education, members of the public.
Parents, teachers, students, reject CPS failed reform. Reject CPS failed reform. Because of your policies. You have produced chaos. You have produced chaos. Mayor Emmanuel, you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. God, you should be ashamed. corporate products.
Board member Penny Pritzker, who is a billionaire, seems to be amused.
Not corporate products. Not corporate products.
CEO Bazard, sorry for the interruption. I hope they all feel better now that they've gotten it out of their system, and we can get on with the business of the
So good morning. Our approved FY12 budget included about $391 million in capital investment. This year, I've asked that all this be accelerated so that we're seeing the total picture with the FY budget is approved. So I have Tim Corley.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to be quiet, ma'am, or you're going to have to leave.
President Vitale appears to give the signal to the security guards to remove the speaker.
The Chicago Tribune says you have failed. The Chicago Tribune says you have failed. Most importantly, the people know you failed. Most importantly, the people know you failed. We now know that only 18%. That only 18% of the replacement school. Of replacement school. Perform well. Perform well.
Madam Secretary, I'd entertain a motion for us to go into closed session.
Dr. Hines?
On the agenda today is a motion to hold closed session identified as 11-1214-M01. I move for the passage of 11-1214-M01 and the commencement of a closed session to consider the subjects specified on the motion.
Second the motion.
Call the roll, please.
Dr. Hines?
Run by CPS.
Run by CPS.
Nearly 40% of the new school. Of the new school. Performance level 3. Performance level 3.
Not able to control the meeting, the board beats a retreat into closed session.
These children are ours. Not yours. These children are not yours.
Not yours.
We are taking our fight to the mayor.
We are taking our fight to the mayor.
We are taking our fight to the court.
We are taking our fight to the courts.
We are taking our fight to the school.
Chicago Teachers Union Vice President Jesse Sharkey encourages those remaining to speak out against the board's policies, even though the board is not there to hear. They never listened, even when they were present.
I know that they have a legal obligation to have a meeting, and we invite that. So can we start with our speakers addressing the front? Who's next? Oh, and I'm sorry, then Angela Dillon.
Education is the most powerful asset we as individuals have. But how can we gamble on our students' education when it has such a tremendous impact on them?
After the historic board meeting protest, Karen Lewis speaks to the corporate and independent media.
There are also issues that people have brought up over and over and over again, and it's like they fall on deaf ears. So I think that people are realizing they have to take this to a different level to be heard. That's what it seems like to me.
What's your suggestion for making sure that every school is, every student's getting a good education?
Right, well, I think there are a couple of things that we need to look at that have been proven over and over and over again. The most important thing is a reasonable class size. We need to have good professional development that's ongoing, that's not a one-shot.